Chapter 4. The walk home from her first day back at school had been a blur. Emotionally bankrupt and physically spent, Avery's hand quivered as she turned the key to their old downtown apartment. Dropping her backpack by the front door, she slogged over to the kitchen to see if there was anything to snack on. On the fridge was a note from her mother. Doing some cleaning bids. Be back around 7. Love you. Avery mused on the fact that Allison still used notes so much. You could have just texted me, Mom. Finding nothing worth eating, Avery downed a glass of water and headed for bed. The cruelty she'd endured that day gnawed at her incessantly as she lay. Trying to get comfortable, she turned from her left side to the right, staring into space. As she replayed the events of the day over and over in her mind, something in the closet caught her eye. She'd forgotten it even existed. The elegant yellow dress was long and slender, made of a sleek satin. It reminded Avery of better days. "What are we doing here?" Avery had questioned, feeling surprised and flattered. Taylor clenched her hand and smiled. "I just thought it might be fun to take a look around." A wave of excitement surged through Avery as the pair walked inside the upscale clothing retailer. She'd never been in a store this fancy before. "Welcome to Ashton's," greeted a well-dressed woman in her late 30s. "Can I help you find anything?" Avery shot a nervous look at Taylor. They'd only been dating a couple of weeks, and she had no idea what he had in mind. "Actually, yes," Taylor replied with confidence. "Do you carry Etienne?" The woman's eyes widened as she smiled. "Absolutely. Please follow me." Guiding them to a section on the far right of the store, their host turned and smiled. "I believe these are about the size you're looking for. Dressing room is to your left. Please let me know if you have any questions." "Thank you," Taylor beamed. Avery didn't know what to think. "Taylor? Seriously? Why did you take me here?" "I'd like you to try some of these on." "But why?" Avery blushed. "Come on, Avery. Just humor me a little. It'll be fun." "I don't know, Taylor. I'm not really a dress girl." "I'm going to try something on, too." "A dress?" "No, silly," Taylor laughed. "One of those tuxedos over there." "Oh." "Hey, what about this yellow one right here?" As Taylor pulled it from the rack, Avery had to agree. It was the most beautiful dress she'd ever seen. Holding the long gown directly in front of her, a smile of pure satisfaction emanated from his well-proportioned face. "Wow, yes, this is definitely the one. Well, that settles it. I'll take a minute and change into my tux, and we'll meet right here in a few minutes." "If you say so," Avery grinned. The female employee unlocked the door for Avery and smiled. "You'll need help zipping that up. Just let me know when you're ready." "I guess I will, won't I?" Avery replied. "Thank you." After a few minutes and some help from the attendant, Avery admired her reflection in disbelief. Having always considered herself somewhat of a tomboy, this was a side of herself she'd never really explored. The radiant young woman staring back at her through the mirror looked like a princess from the fairy tales she'd read as a kid. "Avery," Taylor called, "are you going to let me see you?" "Sorry," Avery replied. "Be right out." With mouth agape, Taylor looked on as Avery appeared from behind the dressing room door. "I can't even tell you," he exclaimed. "You make that gown look so much better." "You don't look bad yourself, handsome," Avery smiled. "Ma'am," Taylor called to the attendant, "could you please take a picture of us?" Scurrying over from the cash register, the woman took his phone and snapped a photo. "You two look absolutely dazzling." Returning Taylor's phone, the woman returned to the register and printed off a receipt. "All right, guys, when you're done changing, I'll go ahead and get that dress ready for you." Avery was flabbergasted. "Oh, I'm not actually buying this. There's no way I could ever afford a dress like this." "Well, that's what boyfriends are for, right?" The woman laughed. "Taylor, I can't let you buy this dress for me. It's almost $600. Being well over a head taller than Avery, Taylor leaned down to kiss her on the cheek and whispered in her ear, "How much trouble would I be in if I already did?" Avery was speechless. "So not that much then, I take it." "But why? When would I possibly wear it? Don't you have a senior prom coming up?" "You want to take me to the prom? You're not surprised, are you? Why wouldn't I?" "Well, I don't know. I've got to try and hold on to you, Avery. If I don't, some other guy will come and scoop you up." "Well, Mr. Beckman," Avery grinned, "you certainly know how to sell. So does that mean you'll let me take you to the prom?" "Of course I will." Gently pushing wisps of blue and black hair behind her ear, Taylor leaned down and kissed the angel in the yellow gown standing next to him. And Avery, who tiptoed up to reach him, enjoyed every moment of it. But it was a prom she'd never attend, a memory she'd never have. Instead, there was pain, confusion, guilt, regret, and the yellow dress, the most beautiful gown in the history of the world. Hanging in the closet, it seemed to be taunting her, mocking her. "He's better off without you, and you know it." Tears welled up in her eyes. Why did this happen to me? Did I do something wrong? Why am I such a freak? Then their conversation in the hospital came back with full force. "Who's the father?" Taylor had said. And she didn't know. She still didn't know. It was doubtful that she ever would. Not like it mattered, though. Why are people so cruel? I'll never get to wear that dress for him. Hanging in its splendor, the satin yellow gown continued to taunt her, continued to remind her that she would never wear it, because she was a whore, a slut. That's why Taylor would no longer have anything to do with her. She was a pregnant 17-year-old, and not by him. A pregnant teenager. A whore. Avery closed her eyes in anguish. But that's not who I am. No. That is not who I am. Rising to her feet, Avery strode into the kitchen and returned with a pair of scissors. With a deep resolve radiating from her bloodshot eyes, she tore the gown from its hanger and threw it in the middle of the floor. Then, kneeling beside the heap of yellow fabric, she began at the neck and frantically severed it all the way to the bottom. Now making a dozen or so cuts around the perimeter, Avery used both hands to fiercely rip the yellow satin to shreds. The task was exhausting. The elaborate dress, like Avery's soul, had now been reduced to rags. Crouching into the fetal position atop the pile of torn yellow fabric, Avery closed her swollen brown eyes. She needed sleep. But she knew it would bring no solace, because eventually she would have to wake up.